death toll from the apartment complex fire in Hong Kong continues to rise as rescue and recovery efforts continue following Hong Kong's worst fire in 77 years. The search is continuing for hundreds of residents that are still unaccounted for. Here in South Korea, lawmakers have voted to pass an arrest motion for the People Power Party's former floor leader, Chu Kyung-hoo, who's accused of interfering with the National Assembly's vote to lift the martial law declaration last year. U.S. President Donald Trump announced that one of the two National Guard soldiers shot near the White House on Wednesday has died. Trump has also called for a full review of Afghan immigrants who entered the country during the Biden administration, after the suspect in the shooting was identified as an Afghan national who entered the United States in 2021. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. We begin today in Hong Kong, where the fire at an apartment complex has largely been extinguished. At least 94 people died in the blaze and hundreds are still missing. Authorities are now moving to find the cause of the fire as well as who's responsible. Our Kim Do-yeon has the latest.
Charred towers and blackened empty window frames are all that remain of Hong Kong's Wang Fuk Court housing complex. These scars are the result of a 24-hour battle against flames that consumed the residential high-rises. As of early Friday morning, 94 people are confirmed dead, including a rescue team member, and more than 70 are injured after Hong Kong's deadliest fire in nearly 80 years. Hundreds of people are also still unaccounted for.
And for the firefighting operation, we encounter particular difficulties in several areas. Like the fire was spreading exceptionally fast, exceptionally rapid. So as you can see, the fire spread quickly to all the 7 blocks of the estate.
As recovery efforts continue, the investigation has turned to accountability. Police have arrested 3 executives from Prestige Construction, the firm contracted to work on renovations at the complex.
Police arrested 3 men around their 50s at midnight. Who are the company executives in charge of the renovation at Wang Fuk Court? They are being detained at the moment.
They are being held on suspicion of manslaughter. Authorities seized documents and digital records during a raid on the company's offices, investigating allegations that grossly negligent practices and unsafe materials were used. Investigators are specifically examining the bamboo scaffolding and green mesh that encased the building, which may have accelerated the fire spread. Survivors, many of whom are elderly, have been displaced to makeshift shelters in nearby shopping malls. While community donation drives are providing immediate necessities, the long-term housing prospects for these residents remain uncertain.
I feel very touched by these things. I can wear this later. These will be useful for me tonight. I will stay at my friend's house temporarily.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered an all-out effort to manage the aftermath of the fire, underscoring the political sensitivity of the disaster. With the cost of housing a long-standing source of public discontent, authorities are moving rapidly to contain the fallout, viewing the tragedy as a critical test of governance for the region. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
And President Lee Jae-myung has expressed his deepest condolences to those affected by the massive fire in Hong Kong. On his social media account on Friday, the South Korean president said the tragedy has left Korea and the world in deep sorrow, adding that he's praying for those who have lost their lives and offers sincere condolences to the bereaved families. He also said that standing in solidarity, he wished for swift recovery and restoration and expressed his respect for rescue workers. And over in the United States, President Donald Trump has announced that one of the 2 National Guard soldiers shot near the White House on Wednesday has died. Trump has also called for a full review of Afghan immigrants who entered the country during the Biden administration, after the suspect in the shooting was identified as an Afghan national who came to the United States in 2021. Our Moon Ji-young has more.
U.S. President Donald Trump said Thursday that one of the two National Guard members shot in Washington on Wednesday has died. The second guardsman shot by the suspected attacker, an Afghan national near the White House, remains in a critical condition. The attack immediately heightened the security concerns in the capital and prompted a sweeping review of asylum cases. On Wednesday, Trump called for a full review of Afghan immigrants who entered the United States during former President Joe Biden's administration.
I can report tonight that based on the best available information, the Department of Homeland Security is confident that the suspect in custody is a foreigner who entered our country from Afghanistan, a hellhole on earth. He was flown in by the Biden administration in September 2021 on those infamous flights that everybody was talking about.
Within hours of President Trump's statement, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced that it had suspended all immigration processing for Afghan nationals indefinitely. The agency did not provide a timeline for resuming processing and said the pause would remain in effect while federal officials conduct a broader security review. Meanwhile, U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Jeannie Pirro identified the suspect as Ramanullah Lakanwal. Officials say Lakanwal arrived in the United States in 2021 under a special immigration program created for Afghans who assisted U.S. forces. He had helped guard American personnel during the Kabul airport evacuation, serving in a unit known locally as the Scorpion Forces. That unit initially operated under the CIA before becoming part of Afghanistan's National Directorate of Security.
The suspect, he has been identified as Ramanullah Lakanwal, a 29-year-old Afghan who entered the United States under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome, a program following the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Lakanwal's background has now become central to the political debate, with lawmakers questioning whether emergency screening during the withdrawal was sufficient. Investigators are reviewing his immigration record, his activities in the United States, and any potential motive behind the attack. They are also coordinating with defense and intelligence officials to understand whether his past service may have influenced his movements. As Washington increases its security posture and federal agencies continue their review, President Trump says his administration will pursue what he calls an immediate reassessment of Afghan entry programs in the weeks ahead. Moon Ji-young, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, here in South Korea, a plenary session kicked off at the National Assembly on Thursday to address a number of bills, including a high-profile motion to arrest the former floor leader of the main opposition party. Our political correspondent Moon Hee-ryun has the details.
The National Assembly held a vote on a motion to arrest Chu Kyung-ho, the former floor leader of the People Power Party. The session began at 2 p.m. on Thursday, and the vote on the motion, conducted by anonymous secret ballot, passed with 172 votes in favor, 4 against, 2 abstentions, and 2 invalid ballots out of 180 lawmakers present. Chu was accused of interfering with the Assembly's vote to lift the December 3rd martial law declaration last year. Under the Constitution, sitting lawmakers cannot be arrested or detained during a session without parliamentary consent. When prosecutors seek an arrest warrant for a lawmaker during a session, a motion to arrest must be approved by the Assembly. The motion passes with a majority of lawmakers present and a majority of those present voting in favor. As the ruling Democratic Party supporting the motion holds the majority, its approval was widely expected. With the motion approved, Chu will undergo a hearing in court, where he will face a pre-arrest interrogation to determine whether a detention warrant will be issued, a session expected to be scheduled for early next month. Lawmakers also reviewed 7 public welfare bills, including the so-called K-Steel Act, which would establish a presidential committee to strengthen the nation's steel industry and provide subsidies, loans, and tax benefits for green steel technology and investment. The Democratic Party had initially sought to pass around 90 bills, but reached a compromise with the People Power Party to take up the remaining measures alongside the national budget on December 2nd. National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-sik urged both parties to prioritize public welfare over political clashes as the budget deadline nears.
Instead of sparring, I ask both parties to do their best until the end to secure every possible budget for the people.
The session took place amid heightened tensions over calls for a parliamentary investigation into the Daejang-dong real estate scandal in Seongnam during President Lee Jae-myung's tenure as mayor. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
TikTok and other social media platforms are propelling Korean beauty products onto major retail shelves across the United States. Now that's according to a CNBC report on Thursday, which reported the rapid spread of Korean cosmetics thanks to viral posts and influencer-driven trends. According to market research firm Nielsen IQ, U.S. K-beauty sales are expected to reach $2 billion this year, a 37% jump from last year. The research firm says basic skincare remains the main engine of growth, while hybrid products that blend makeup with features like sun protection are also expanding steadily. The National Theatre of Korea is bringing together 4 master choreographers for a rare end-of-the-year tribute, reimagining works that help shape the foundations of modern Korean dance. Our Pyeongyang has more.
At the National Theatre of Korea, the soft echo of footsteps are like a quiet pulse carrying decades of Korean dance history. Inside the rehearsal studio, dancers chase shapes first imagined long before some were born. Yet the movements feel new, as if past and present are breathing in sync. This is Living Legacy, a rare convergence of 4 master choreographers whose works help define modern Korean dance. Their works return to the stage with fresh color and fresh voices. The program brings together choreography by Cho Heung-dong, Bae Jung-ae, Kim Hyun-ja, and Guk Soo-ho. Each a former director of the National Dance Company, they have a distinct artistic language that helped define a generation. Across 2 weeks in December, the company will present 4 works in a double bill format. Bae Jung-ae's Soul Sunflower, Guk Soo-ho's Tibetan Sky, Kim Hyun-ja's Watching the Plum Blossom, and a new premiere by Cho Heung-dong titled The Gallant. Ahead of opening night, the troupe offered a preview inside their rehearsal space, unveiling key scenes and speaking about the artistic process. The choreographers say this project is an immense privilege that allows them to carry the emotional weight and cultural depth of their artistry into a new era.
Inviting us seniors back like this must have taken tremendous courage, and we're deeply grateful to the artistic director for embracing that vision.
I'm now over 80, and I'm someone who has spent my entire life dancing. And yet, there is still so much I don't know. I still have more to explore, more to study, and more to pass on to the next generation.
For the dancers stepping into these iconic roles, the experience is both humbling and electrifying.
It's an honor to stand here as a dancer and work alongside the 4 teachers who carved out their dance journeys and wrote the history of the National Dance Company. From Kim Hyun-ja, I've learned not only movement, but her love for dance itself, her philosophy, and her artistic world. That has been an extraordinary gift.
Living Legacy runs from December 17th to 18th and 20th to 21st at the National Theatre of Korea, offering audiences a chance to witness the lineage of Korean dance carry forward through a new generation. Pyeongyang, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. In Turkey, Pope Leo XIV warned that escalating global conflicts are endangering the future of humanity as he began his first overseas trip since becoming Pope in May. Speaking in Ankara on Thursday, he said the world is facing a heightened phase of violence driven by military and economic power struggles. The Pope arrived for a 6-day trip that includes a visit to Lebanon and was welcomed by President Erdogan, who said the visit comes at a critical moment amid regional wars, such as in Gaza. Pope Leo emphasized unity, peace, and protection of civilians, saying humanity must not give in to choices that undermine justice and stability. In Peru, former President Pedro Castillo was sentenced to 11 years and 5 months in prison on Thursday for attempting to dissolve Congress during a political crisis 3 years ago. Judges ruled that Castillo's move to suspend the legislature on December 7, 2022, while facing impeachment hearings, amounted to rebellion and conspiracy against the state. He was removed from office and arrested the same day. Prosecutors said he tried to undermine Peru's constitution, while Castillo denied wrongdoing, calling his actions, quote, a document without consequence. His brief presidency and removal triggered years of nationwide unrest. In Sri Lanka, heavy rains triggered landslides and floods that have killed more than 40 people and left more than 20 missing, according to the country's Disaster Management Center on Thursday. Most of the deaths were reported in the central mountainous districts of Badula and Nuwala Ilia, where roads and rail lines were blocked by mud, rocks, and fallen trees. Severe weather that began last week intensified over the weekend, flooding homes and fields and forcing authorities to halt passenger trains in several areas. Officials say this is Sri Lanka's deadliest weather event since last year. In the United States on Thursday, New York City launched the 99th annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, boasting 28 floats, 11 marching bands, and 34 balloons, including debuts for Labubu and characters from K-pop Demon Hunters. The parade featured performances by Ciara, Lil Jon, and Huntrix members EJ and Rayami. Millions of spectators lined the 4-kilometer route as the parade marched through New York City. Chu Ji-han, Arirang News.
Cold air has moved in behind the recent rain, and there has been a big drop in temperatures with a sub-zero morning chill in many parts of Korea. Wearing thin layers stacked together traps heat better and helps your body adjust throughout the day. But today's cold snap will be short-lived as the temperatures will return to above average just in time for the weekend. However, there will be late-night rain in parts of Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do provinces and the capital area on Sunday night. And this afternoon, temperatures will stay chilly with a high of just 7 degrees Celsius here in the capital, Daegu, Gyeongju, Gwangju at just 10 degrees under sunny skies nationwide. Then next week, another round of stronger cold air will settle in, with temperatures dropping down to as low as minus 6 degrees Celsius in the middle of next week here in the capital. So if you're sensitive to the cold, keep a scarf or a neck warmer handy. Covering your neck helps your whole body stay warmer. Please take care in this sudden cold snap.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.